Fusiliers, fall in! Good luck, boys. Squad, left, turn!
Slow down, guys.
The march you have just seen was a reenactment of what took place 100 years ago this very week, when members of the 1st 6th Battalion of the Lancashire Fusiliers marched to meet their counterparts in Rochdale and Middleton on their way to Egypt and then to Gallipoli. The Information Centre has put up a splendid display which we are now going to see, and the story will then follow through. In the Boer War, the militias were proved to be a disaster. The British Empire using 500,000 soldiers. In 1908, under the Territorial Forces Act, the Todmorden men became the 1st 6th Battalion, the Lancashire Fusiliers, then formerly the 2nd Volunteer Battalion, as you can see on the wall. The names and addresses you can see on the wall here are the men that made up the 1st 6th Battalion of the Fusiliers. Most of them were weavers, miners, foundry men. They were men who signed up for national defence. Most of them Todmorden names, and most of them who still have relations in the town today. There's the 1st 6th Battalion leaving the drill hall on the 7th of August 1914. As you can see, the crowds came out to wish them well and to see them on their way. After training in Turton, the men were then sent to the garrison in Cairo, and there they are pictured in Egypt. Shortly after that, of course, a bloody awakening was to take place at Gallipoli, where members of the Lancashire Fusiliers had already taken many VCs. Todmorden men took 5 DCMs, second only to a VC. Some of the relations of those men still live in the town today. It was a very bloody campaign, very difficult campaign, and one which goes down as a disaster for the British Empire. 50 years later, survivors of the 1st 6th Battalion of the Lancashire Fusiliers, the Old Comrades Association, reenacted their march, and pictures of them are there to see on the wall in the Information Centre. The men that survived. And it's worth pointing out that some of these men just didn't fight in Gallipoli, they went on to fight in France and Flanders as well. Most of the men had their numbers changed because of the decimation of the battalion. And of course any medal collectors will tell you how difficult it is to find medals which have the original numbers on because of the number changes. But there on the wall are the boys from Todmorden who won the medals in Gallipoli, France and Flanders. Of course some of the men didn't make it. People like Herbert Hazeltine, people like John Willie Child, men who lost their lives in Gallipoli, but men who will be remembered in this town forever.
Can you please tell me how long you've been planning this event?
For about 12 months now, yeah.
And the weather's not turned out really well, has it?
No,
Not really.
no, it's awful.
Hoping it's sun might come out in a bit. We never
Later
know.
on, yeah.
So where did you get the uniforms from? Did you make them yourself?
My Auntie Catherine made them.
Oh, they look very well, and I wish you well up today.
Thank you very much.
We've just seen the lads and lasses pass through the town of Littleborough as they did 100 years ago on their way to Rochdale. Of course 100 years ago this would not have been here. This is Littleborough's memorial to the lads and lasses who died in 2 wars. Our journey now moves on to Rochdale. Rochdale Town Hall is in the foreground. Very shortly the lads and lasses of the 1st 6th Battalion of the Lancashire Fusiliers will march along Entwistle Road like they did 100 years ago. Things, however, have changed in those last 100 years. Rochdale as a town has suffered, like most northern towns, from mass immigration and a sellout of our people by corrupt politicians. In the background behind us would not have been here 100 years. What this place will look like in 100 years from now, well, unless nationalists get their act together, we know the answer to that.
The Royal Regiment of Fusiliers are proud to have been able to take part in this commemoration today. The Royal Regiment of Fusiliers are the descendants of the Lancashire Fusiliers, and we maintain their history, their heritage and their traditions. It is also worth saying that young men from Todmorden and Rochdale serve as Fusiliers to this day, and we are proud to carry on those traditions. But also let's look to the future, and it's also worth reflecting as we look round the number of young people who are in uniform, the cadets who are the future, the cadets who wish to maintain those traditions, and the cadets who take those traditions forward. So on behalf of the regiment, I would like to thank the people of Rochdale and the people of Todmorden for their invitation and for letting us take part. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.